On ASEAN Sectoral Dialogue application, at present there is a moratorium. So many countries have applied. All of the inputs received during that dialogue, including the 7-point agenda mentioned by the chief advisor, will figure in the high-level conference in New York. And of course, ASEAN will also be there. So we'll try to see what ASEAN can try to bring into the table. But thank you so much for raising that issue. On ASEAN Sectoral Dialogue application, at present, there is a moratorium. So many countries have applied. And until it's decided that that moratorium is lifted, so all applications are held in abeyance. But maybe it's good to point out that ASEAN actually has guidelines for external partnerships. So we have development partners, we have sectoral dialogue partners, we have dialogue partners. And usually, if you look at the guidelines, it talks about strengthening political, economic, social, cultural relations, not just with ASEAN as a group, but the ASEAN member states. That's one, and I think the second is about tangible cooperation. So from what I understand, your representation in Jakarta, who has already presented his credentials to the DG of ASEAN, is looking at specific areas to include in the roadmap, which is usually required for such an application. For RCEP, I understand they're creating the modality for membership for those who are applying to be members of, to participate in ASEAN. Thank you for raising recap and ICMW. These are important fora where we can explore cooperation. So we'll bring this to Capital. In terms of military cooperation, so I understand that defense exchanges has been going on for a while. So maybe we'll flag, increasing the number of topics which they can discuss to include some of the areas which were already mentioned. There was reference to the Rohingya refugees in ASEAN, and I think there was reference, yes, to the 5-point consensus and the AHA Center. Of course, discussions fall within ASEAN. There were some representatives from ASEAN member states at the stakeholders dialogue, which was, I understand, the first ever done on that item. My understanding is all of the inputs received during that dialogue, including the 7-point agenda mentioned by the chief advisor, will figure in the high-level conference in New York. And of course, ASEAN will also be there. So we'll try to see what ASEAN can try to bring into the table. But thank you so much for raising that issue. On the biggest challenge faced by Bangladesh, and you did mention about the Rohingyas when we attended that stakeholders dialogue, and there was a visit to the camps. That was an eye-opener. So again, as I said, all the information we received from this end is fed into Capital for some policy considerations. We attended the Badda Investment Summit. Sadly, there was no Filipino investor which participated yet. And I think because we received the invitation maybe a month in advance, sometimes these delegations, they take a while before they can participate. But through the Chamber of Commerce, the Philippines Bangladesh Chamber of Commerce, I understand they will have a visit in the Philippines soon, which will increase, of course, the appreciation of opportunities here in Bangladesh. And I think that's the importance of both cultural exchanges, academic exchanges, university partnerships, even tourism. They identify opportunities where we can actually cooperate. So that's why we should be supporting these initiatives. On the ASEAN committee in Dhaka, it's technically a third, you're very right, it's a third country committee. Under the rules of ASEAN, you actually have third country committees in dialogue partners of ASEAN. Here in Bangladesh, it developed as a group, but we only have 8 members. So you understand there are challenges in terms of coining it as an ASEAN committee. But nonetheless, it's an opportunity for us to share and discuss opportunities identified by the member countries while here in Dhaka. So I've been attending it since I arrived. And they were actually the first group I met because when I arrived at the airport, ASEAN has this tradition that we all meet the incoming and outgoing ASEAN ambassadors.